get my 6. Perhaps we are. Keep your eyes on it. But I'm hearing footsteps all around me. So guys, I'm going to try not to block your view here. Looks like we've got company already back here to listen about trusting no one and exactly why I don't use Facebook. A lot of folks have said, why don't you do Facebook? Why aren't you on Instagram? Blah, blah, blah. Why are you only on YouTube? You could monetize all these other platforms. I'm going to tell you exactly why. And it's connected about trusting people and using Facebook, etc., etc. And trust me, as soon as I knock out this October Nights Part 2, we are going squatching. We are going back here into the woods to look for him, her, it, or they. See if we can get up close and personal with these things that come and go in the background, unless we're not here and then they're picked up by motion sensor cameras. We're going to get to the bottom of this, Scooby-Doo. Is it the caretaker after all, like it usually is on those shows? Or is it something much more sinister? Is it Chief Cockton? Who's that? You're going to find out in October. Tell you, working on cleaning that one up now. Had to get out of the house and come up here to make this video because it's so terrifying just reliving those events in my head from that one bad trip on the res out there at the Navajo Nation. Crows and tree knocks. They come with the crows. We've seen this so many times in these videos. But really what they're saying is shut up and get to the story. Okay, so here's the story. First and foremost, it moved. Okay, I'm sorry that I blocked it. I'm going to do my best not to block him, her, it, or they. I've been having a wonderful time catching up with my old battle buddy from basic training, Travis Stagel. I want to thank all of you who have gone over to his channel, Fighting Past 40, and subscribed and been watching his videos. Listen, it's Sunday morning as of this recording, even though I'm not going to upload it until the later in the afternoon. 2 days ago, he had 130 subscribers. We're trying to get him to 1,000 by the end of this weekend. As of this recording, he's closing in on 700. We only need 300. There's 285,000 of you, or 84 of you on here. Come on, there's 300 of you out there that can go give my man a hand up and subscribe. And you watch some of his videos, you're going to walk away inspired. It's that simple. But we've been catching up. We've been out of communication with each other for 15 years. We've got a call coming up with each other here. We're rearranging our schedules so that we can make that happen. But we've been emailing back and forth. And he shared something with me about the frustrations of trying to grow his social media business, as it is. That he just brought back so many memories that came rushing to my head because I've been exactly where he is and I've gone through the exact same things, and I wasted years spinning my wheels trusting people who were not trustworthy, who were merely bald-faced liars. Let me tell you, and some of these people were people that I've known since early childhood. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to give you the examples, and this is why I say, you know, I'm not stealing that line from the X-Files, trust no one, even though it was a really good line. Here's the thing about social media, and here's, you know, like a lot of people have asked me why my channel, this channel, Homesteading Off the Grid, was able to gain traction and get to where it is, because as the vertically challenged individuals who live under bridges like to say, anybody can do what this guy does. Why does he have so many subscribers? Why do so many people watch this idiot? He just gets in front of his camera and rambles for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. It's because I'm real. I have the balls to be real in front of millions of strangers every month, and I don't care. I used to care. I used to care what other people thought. I used to care about what other people might think, but I reached a point in my life, call it the down and out in the Philippines years, when I had been ostracized by everybody I knew, when I was a down and out, drunk, disabled combat veteran with no hopes of ever getting back to the greatest nation on earth, the United States of America. And if that offends you, this plane's leaving every day. Get on board. But I made these things happen, and strongly, number one, due to the fact, not because I'm a great writer. I'm a good writer. I'll admit that. I'll never claim to be anything more than I am, but I will never lower myself and claim to be less than I am as well. I'm a good writer. Took me many, many years to get to this point. But that finally got the ball rolling. Got on social media, found success here by being real. And it's because I stopped giving a crap about what other people thought of me. Okay? So I stopped being afraid to maybe tell some truths about mistakes I've made in my life, about choices I've made that maybe I wish I'd have made differently, that ended up resulting in bad things happening. Okay? I told those stories. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe he's admitting that in front of... Hey man, anybody who claims to have no skeletons in their closet has an entire mansion full of them. Anybody who wants to come across as being perfect is probably the most imperfect person you'll ever meet. I'd run like hell from that person. Okay? I got to this point to where I didn't care. I would let it all out because I was hungry. I was stuck in a third world country where I had no rights. There was no safety net for people like me or the local residents of that country. There were no EBT cards. There were no socialized healthcare system. So if you got sick, you got help. If you got sick and you didn't have the money to pay for it, you died. And don't start that crap about not having health insurance and not getting treated. If you get sick in this country, you go to the ER, yeah, you might have to wait a few hours, but you will get treated. Yeah, you might have to file bankruptcy when you're done with it because you can't afford to pay the bill, but you get to live, you get to have another day to make that money back. You get one shot at life. That's it. There are no do-overs. When I was at that point, I was hungry, my wife was hungry, and we had a little kid that we fought tooth and nail to make sure didn't go hungry. And there were plenty of times he ate and we didn't. Okay? When I got to that low, the freaking gloves came off. The give a crap factor of what anybody thought went away, and I started doing the work because I realized if it was to be, it was up to me. I had no relatives that had money that would send help. Even if I did have people like that, they would not have sent help. Trust me, I was left for dead. People were trying to find me. I've made some reconnections with some folks who were trying to find me. And when they went to folks who did know where I was, they were told that they didn't know where I was. Yeah, I found out all about that. I made the right choice. And now we're living the dream, okay? Now, let's get to it. So I'm communicating with my buddy Travis, and he was talking about the frustrations of how people will go onto Facebook or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, Travis, I see that you're doing TED Talks now, because the guy is really good. He's motivational. Listen, this guy grew up the fat kid, and those are his words, not mine. He was bullied. He was picked on. When he was 17 years old, he weighed over 300 pounds. He was tired of the life he was living, so you know what he did? He started living life a different way. Made all the difference in the world. He lost the weight. He got into like fitness and health. Today, even though he's 40 years old, he's an MMA fighter. He joined the Army, got an engineering degree, college degree, was an engineer making good money, left that to join the United States Army at the peak of the War on Terror. That's when I joined. That's where we met, Fort Benning, Georgia, infantry school, basic training. He went on to become a Green Beret, served in Afghanistan as a Green Beret. This, the former fat kid that got bullied and picked on all the time, okay? So he's like, I've been trying to get a presence in social media. I get speaking engagements lined up, but I know I can really get myself out there more if I can get some traction on social media, but it's been so frustrating, People will come to my Facebook and they're like, hey, Travis, this is great. We want to help in any way that we can. How can we help? And he tells them, it's this simple. Watch my videos, click the like button or the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share the videos so that your friends that I'm not friends with can see my videos, and that'll help me grow. And they're like, all right, Trav, we're on it. And then nobody does it. And he says, this is so frustrating. And I said, dude, I spent years putting up with that crap, and I finally stopped. Get away from that crap. I call it fake book because that's what it is. It is fake. I haven't used it in years. I'm going to give you some examples why. So I'm in Iraq. I was over there in 2008, 2009, right? Man, I put it on Facebook. Now, I wasn't, divulging any OPSEC stuff, operational security type issues, like certainly not saying when we were going out of the gate, where we were going, what we were doing while we were out there. Man, people that I hadn't heard from since high school is crawling out of the woodwork, right? Crawling out of the woodwork. Oh, you're my hero. Oh my God, I can't believe I actually know somebody that's in Iraq. And oh my God, aren't you like in your mid-30s? I thought you were a stockbroker. I'm like, yeah, I left that shit after they knocked our buildings down. I got something to say about that. And they're like, oh my God, you're awesome. You're my hero. If I can do anything for you, let me know. If I can send you anything, let me know. I'm like, oh, it's all good. Just, keep me in your prayers. Keep me in your well wishes. Well, 2 or 3 months go by. I'm in Iraq. Every day is the same. People were trying to kill me every day, every night. And, just an example. And I'm not going to list names. I'm not going to give names. But there was this one woman who I'd known since kindergarten. Constantly coming on, like when I'd post something, she'd make sure to be the first one to comment. And she'd say, hey, if you need anything while you're over there, you tell me and I will go out tomorrow and get it and mail it to you. And it's really neat because it's not expensive. Even though we were over in the Middle East, there's these APO addresses, military addresses. You pay the same postage as if you're shipping domestically. So you could get like a flat rate box, currently like a medium-sized flat rate box. And I know this because of all the shipping we do on our Etsy store. The link is in the description box below. Go get my totally awesome books that are good. They're not great, but they're good. Get autographed copies from the Etsy store below. There's a link. $14.25. You could, anything you fit in that box, you could send to Iraq. And back then, 2008, 2009, I think it was like $12 or $11. It was even cheaper. So she was always going on and on about how she bakes these wonderful brownies and cookies and they're a hit at her church and everybody loves them. And every time there's a party in the neighborhood, she's asked to do her baking for 2 or 3 months. She was offering to send me these things. Man, I'm telling you, after 2 or 3 months in Iraq, those home-baked fresh brownies were enticing. So I finally commented back. I said, I've been saying no thank you for 3 months, but I'm getting sick and tired of everything having sand on it. When I eat my food, it's all covered in sand. I would love to have some of your brownies. Not only did she not send the brownies, never heard from her again, and she unfriended me. And I promise, this is what they do in the Philippines. They cross their throat, hope to die. Here in America, cross our hearts, hope to die. That's the only thing I said. Never heard from her again. And I thought, is she just trying to look good on social media? Is she just trying to make sure everybody sees her offering this combat soldier in the midst of combat brownies when in reality she had no intentions of sending those brownies? She just wanted to look good on social media? Thought, nah, it can't be. So anyway, fast forward. Get home from the war. Spend 6 months in the Army hospital, Madigan Army Hospital, Fort Lewis. Back then, it's now Fort Lewis Joint Base McChord. There was the Air Force. Joined together, having surgery, going through rehab from a non-combat injury I sustained while in Iraq. I got hurt over there, but it wasn't on a combat mission. It was actually whatever. So I'm in the hospital. Same crap. I'd post on Facebook. Here comes everybody. Oh, you're our hero. We're glad you made it back. We're glad you made it home alive. When you come back to the East Coast, when you come back east, because these are a lot of my friends back east, some, where I grew up, some old friends from the Charlottesville area, make sure to come see me. I've missed you. It's been years. You're my hero. I tell everybody at work about my buddy, and now you're laid up in the hospital after being over there for a year, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I got leave once. Had to get to come back east for a week, and then I went back to the hospital for 3 more months. I contacted some of these folks, okay? One, again, no mention of any names, because I'm not going to, give them the credit of having their names mentioned. It's one woman, old enough to be my mom, and there was several of these, but this is just going to be the example I use. More than anybody, when you're back east, come see me. When you're back east, come see me. So I got back east, and she isn't from where I grew up. She was from a couple hours north of there, closer to where I went to college. I messaged her and I said, messaged her on Facebook, I'm back east. I'm in the state, and I would love to jump in the car and drive, spend a couple hours driving up there and coming to see you and just getting together in person. You were really communicative with me in Iraq and while I was in the hospital, and I'd love to see you again in person. Well, she sends me a message back and she says, I'd love to meet with you, but I just had Bell's palsy. Said she had Bell's palsy. And she said, explained it. That's when like part of your face goes paralyzed. And she said that she was not comfortable yet going out in public or seeing people because it happened relatively recently. And she was shy. She was embarrassed. And otherwise she'd love to meet with me. Well, I messaged her back. I said, I fully understand. This is terrible. I hope you get through with this. Just listen to your doctors, do what they suggest you do. And next time I'm back east, we'll get together. Well, someone, a real friend, actually from that area, wanted to get together with me. And so I went up to see that friend. I had a lot of friends here because I spent half a dozen years up there going to college. Yeah, it took me 6 years to get through, but whatever, I finally did it. Who cares? See, life's a marathon, not a sprint. It's all about just finishing the race. It's about just continuing to move forward, okay? So I'm up there. We go into the local grocery store. Guess who I see? This woman who had clearly not had Bell's palsy. She was healthy as could be. She was talking with somebody else she knew, laughing and cackling and just having a good old time over there in the produce section. She never saw me, but I saw her. And again, I'm thinking, could it be that these people just want to look good on Facebook? Leaving these comments for the now disabled combat veteran laid up in the hospital? Hey, let's make sure the world sees us saying, hey, we love you so much. Make sure when you're out of that nasty old hospital, you come see me. Is it possible? Well, let's fast forward a little bit more. I'm over there in the Philippines during my down and out years. After coming home during the Great Recession, can't get a job. I'm hooked on 8 or 12 different medications the Army and the VA's throwing at me, and I'm washing them down with booze, because what goes better with pain pills and alcohol, right? Out of my mind. Go to the Philippines to drink and drug myself to death till I run out of drugs. Now what? Well, just drink yourself to death. Met a woman I fell in love with who actually loved me back unconditionally. I had no money. I was broke. She was not with me for this money that I did not have. She was with me for me and what she saw in me that I clearly was no longer seeing in myself. And then we had a little boy who, guess what? Wait for it. Loved me. What, that's not the best part. Unconditionally. Not based upon what I could do for him, what my career was, and whether he understood it or not. And despite any imperfections I have, and I've got more of them than I do perfections, I can tell you that, but like his mother loved me despite of my flaws, probably in spite of them, because that's part of the package they fell in love with mother effing conditionally. The two of them loved me back to life. They made me well. They got me better. They made this happen. It's not just because I'm a good writer. It's because I have a hell of a corner back there. When everybody else is counting me out, they throw in the towel, drag me over, prop me up in the stool and say, we lost this one, bro, but we're going to get the next one. And that's what we did. Did a lot of losing. Got counted out, knocked down, knocked out a lot of times, but kept standing back up until we finally won. Now we're here. But while I was over there, I'm going to give you another example. Wonderful woman from here in the Charlottesville area who I'd always had a wonderful platonic relationship with. It was never anything more than platonic. She was very outdoorsy, very athletic. We had a lot of things in common. We used to get together and go running. We would go mountain biking. We would go kayaking. Her children babysat my children from my first marriage. She and my wife were friends. I was friends with her boyfriend that she almost married. While I was in the Philippines, sent her a message. I kind of needed somebody to talk to. And I wasn't crying, I wasn't whining, and I certainly wasn't asking for money. None of that stuff. I was like, hey, how are you? I've been over here for the last couple of years. Things haven't really gone that great, but, they're starting to perk up, and I'm starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. I think I might actually make it back over there someday. I've got this beautiful girl that we have a son, and maybe you'll meet someday, and blah, blah, blah. If I do make it back over there, maybe we can get together and go mountain biking again. She never replied. She unfriended me. And a few days later, when I was like, this can't be right, I went and looked for her again. She had blocked me. Okay? Fast forward a couple years past that. I do make it back here I am. I run into her. I'm out with a couple of old friends, and she shows up with a couple of our other old friends, and she's like, Kevin, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. I'm like, hey. And she goes, oh my God. She pulls out her phone. She goes, you've got to give me your number. We've got to get together and go mountain biking. And I said, well, that's interesting. Because, see, I messaged you on Facebook about 3 years ago and said the same thing. You not only didn't reply to the message, you unfriended me, and then a few days after that, you blocked me. And I said, I'm curious, what's changed? Why is it you wouldn't even reply to a message back then, but now that you see me in person, face to face, you get so excited, it's orgasmic, and now you want my number and you want to go mountain biking? She could not believe somebody said this to her. And you remember what I was saying at the beginning of this? I finally got real because I finally stopped giving a shit about what other people thought, how I looked, because I was hungry. Listen, I'm eating very well now. So's my family. Our bills are paid. There's more food in our house. We want for nothing. We still live a very simple life, even though we got one hell of a nice spread out here. And let me tell you what that was about. That was about space. After living 6 years in a terribly overpopulated country where humanity is shoulder to shoulder like this, I just wanted to have a clean, wide open space. So I can come out here and just sit around and see nothing but green. I stopped using Facebook because that's all it is. It's fake. Bunch of people want to look good in the eyes of others on social media, but the way they're truly living behind the scenes is nothing like that. I've got no time, no room in my life for fake people, for fake anything. If you're not 100% real, you're not on my team. I got my corner. That's all I need, because they're the winning corner. I would highly recommend a lot of you, like I've told my friend Travis, take a look at how you're spending your time. How often do you sit there when you sit down to go to work? This was happening to me in the Philippines. I'd go into my office to sit down to try to write the next great American novel or the next great American short story, only to see that 3 or 4 people had messaged me. So I messaged back. Next thing you know, I'm pissing away 2 or 3 hours in an exchange, 12-hour time difference. 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me in the Philippines, 2 a.m. in the morning for them. Guess what I was doing? I was talking to drunks. I was entertaining people who were blackout drunk, had nothing better to do, who the next day didn't even remember the conversation. That's how I was wasting my time. After that, I said, F this, and I stopped, and I haven't done it since. Take a look at what you're doing. Take a look and see how many people are lying to you, whether you realize it or not. Trust no one. Get off Facebook. Go outside and play, even in the rain. That's what I'm going to do. See you next time for more. Hey, Bigfoot Sasquatch, Bigfoot Sasquatch, Bigfoot Sasquatch. Hey, Bigfoot Sasquatch, Bigfoot Sasquatch, Bigfoot Sasquatch.